Okay, this lesson is going to be on. Just a second. This lesson is going to be on video. I mean, on a perimeter and circumference. And what we're going to talk about is the perimeter and circumference of different shapes. Now, you know how to find the perimeter of shapes that are rectangles and squares, things that are typical shapes. On a rectangle, you have 4 sides. You're just going to add up the sum of the sides as perimeter. So to find it, you're going to take the sum of all sides. We're talking about length in this case. When you're talking about the perimeter of a circle, we're talking about the distance around the circle. That's called circumference. And with that, we have to use a formula. And that formula is going to be pi times the diameter. Know that diameter is just 2r, so it's pi times 2 times the radius. Okay, the diameter of the circle is the line that goes through the center from one side to the other. The radius is half of that. That's the radius of the circle. So when you're talking about circumference, if I were an ant and I start walking along this circle in this direction, how far have I walked when I get back to my starting point? And so that's what circumference is going to be. The rest of it is just adding up the sum of all the sides. Now sometimes you aren't starting to find the sum of the sides. You might have to break down some of the figures. For example, if we're looking at this trapezoid, I can break this trapezoid down into 2 triangles and a rectangle. Well, let's say I only have the sides. Can I find the length of this side right here? Yeah, you can use Pythagorean theorem. That's just the hypotenuse. So you're going to have to use some things that you already know in order to figure out a couple of things about pieces of information that are missing. And then you can use that to find the sum of all of the sides. Okay, let's look at some. We're going to find the perimeter of these figures here. Notice that in example number 1, you're not given all of the side lengths. We can easily figure out what they are. This is an irregular figure, but it is made up of squares and rectangles. So, let's say that the length of this piece right here is 2, because it matches with the piece above it. That means the length of this piece right here is 8, making the total side length 10. Right? Well, how can we figure out what the length is of this side? Well, I know the large side over here on the left is 13, and this little piece is 2, which that makes this 11. So you can use things that you already know to figure out the actual side lengths. Well, now we just add them all up. 13 plus 2 plus 2 plus 8 plus 11 plus 10 is the total. That gives me 20, 30, 40, 44, 45, 46 as a perimeter. Okay? What about this figure over here? This one looks a little different. But I can see where there's kind of a triangle inside of sample 2. So I should be able to figure out what the length is of the missing side. This side right here. I know this piece right here is 4, and that this piece down here is 6, which makes this side 3. Well, if I have a right triangle, and I've got 2 sides of that right triangle, how do I find the third? I use Pythagorean theorem. In this case, A is 4, B is 3. We know C has to be 5 because that creates a Pythagorean triple. Now I can easily add up all of the lengths of the sides. 4 plus 6 plus 9 plus 5, which is 24. Okay, let's look at a figure that's a little bit more complex. Here we need to find the perimeter in terms of pi, for example, number 3. Well, what is this figure made up of? It's made up of a rectangle and a circle that's split in half. If you look at this, r, the radius of the circle is given to you, and then the length of the rectangle is 8 times r. So first we need to find the circumference of the circle. Since I have 2 halves of a circle, I need to find the circumference of one circle, and that's pi d, or 2 pi r. And then I have to add to that the length of the side. We know that that's going to be 8r as well. So I have 2 pi r, the circumference of the circle, plus 2 times 8r, because I have 2 side lengths that are 8r in length. That's 2 pi r plus 16r. Well, we can simplify this a little bit more. What do these two terms have in common? They both have a 2 and an r. And so I'm left with pi plus 8. And there's the perimeter of that figure.